super grateful for my teammates tonight and allowing me to go after that. But yeah, I'm just super happy to be here. We've played together for a while. There's been a lot of, passes to her, but I mean, she was wide open in that moment. And
The ball snapped through the net with that sweet swish that fans can hear in their sleep. The first three-pointer of the night. It wasn't just a bucket. It was a sigh of relief. Yeah, it felt good, Caitlin Clark said later, the grin still fresh in her voice. And then I took one in transition. That's kind of where I like to get to early. And it's always good to see the ball go through the hoop. Every scorer knows the feeling. That first shot that drops erases the jitters. It's the green light your body sends your brain, telling you, yeah, we're ready tonight. Clark wasn't just ready. She was about to put on a mini shooting clinic that had the crowd at full volume before the first quarter was even done. The flurry, 3 in a row, the sequence was pure basketball poetry. One transition pull-up, money. A second possession, catch, release, bottom. A third trip, hesitation, dribble, step back. The crowd was already halfway out of their seats before it splashed. And then I came down and shot another one. Then I came down and shot another one, and saw 3 in a row go in, she recalled. That gives you a lot of confidence. Confidence wasn't just a personal thing. It rippled. The bench was standing. Teammates were bumping shoulders, smirking like they'd just watched someone break an arcade game. And yet, Clark wasn't done. She kept finding clean looks. A wide-open one early in the second quarter, then a couple of tough contested makes. Even in the second half, I felt like they all came off my hand feeling really good, she said. That's what you can find confidence in as a scorer and as a shooter. When a shooter says that, fans know. The form was locked in, the rhythm was there. Every release felt like it had a chance. Shaking off the rust. That wasn't really there. Clark had hinted the day before about shaking off a little rust. But watching her, you wouldn't have guessed she was coming off any break. I mean, not really, she said when asked if she felt rusty. You're just a little anxious to get out there and get playing again. I felt really good. That didn't mean there weren't physical demands. There were a few periods where I felt like a little tired. I asked for a sub there in the second quarter, and Steph got me a quick one. It was a smart read of her own body. Clark has always been a pace manager, knowing when to push and when to recharge so she can hit the big shots late. And credit went beyond herself. A lot of that is credit to our medical team. They've kept me in shape even though I haven't been able to be up and down as much as everybody else. Fans love the highlights, but there's a grind behind them, bike work, resistance bands, core drills. Also that when the lights are bright, the legs are fresh enough to fire from deep. The Liberties run, and the team's response the third quarter didn't start pretty. New York opened on a run, slicing into momentum. Coach Stephanie White had said pre-game that resilience was the team's backbone, and this was the test. We understand that basketball is a game of runs and not being able to just give up in those moments, Clark explained. The bench became the spark. Sophie Cunningham, freshly back and clearly locked in, was a massive plus. Really just proud of Sophie coming back, being able to contribute like she did. Plus 31 tonight. Plus 31. That's not just solid minutes. That's changing the game's energy entirely. I think just being able to trust 1 through 11. That we're going to go out there, have each other's back, and work through those tough times. Fans see the stars, but depth wins games. Clark and the starters trusted the bench to hold the line, and they did more than that. They flipped the momentum, the toll of greatness. When shooting takes it out of you, those 3 early threes weren't walk-up shots. They were all in transition. The hardest shots to hit because you're sprinting, stopping, and shooting in one fluid motion. I felt like I was kind of running around fast to try to get them off. The third one, I ran all the way to the corner, then ran all the way back up top, then dribbled a few times, and then finally got it off. That's legs burning, lungs on fire territory, and she knew it. Yeah, I mean that takes it out of probably anybody. The key wasn't just performing, It was planning for recovery, especially with the schedule we have coming up. We're playing a lot of games in a very short period of time, so I really have to take care of myself to make sure I don't regress. This is where the pros separate themselves, not just knowing how to play, but how to sustain. Ice baths, nutrition, careful minutes. The work after the buzzer is just as vital. The moment that stuck every game has a heartbeat moment. The one that players remember when they're finally home and the noise is gone. For Clark, it wasn't the early fireworks. I think the way we responded. When they went on that run in the third quarter and our coaches told us at halftime, we already used too many timeouts. Don't let them go on a run. And then we let them go on a run. It was a gut check. No bailout from the bench with a whistle. They had to figure it out themselves. We knew Steph wasn't calling one there. We had to figure out how to play through it and go on a run of our own. For Clark, that was growth. I think that's kind of where we grew today. In the past, that's kind of where... She didn't even need to finish the sentence. Fans know. The past was when those moments would spiral. Tonight, they didn't. Why this game mattered beyond the score, this wasn't just a win over the Liberty. It was a team teaching itself that it could handle turbulence without unraveling. For Clark, it was shaking off rust without ever really showing it. For the bench, it was proving they could not just survive minutes but swing games. For fans, it was the reminder of why they watch. The mix of skill, grit, and trust. And for anyone in the arena, that first three going down wasn't just a shot. It was the spark that lit up the whole night. The night began with a familiar sound, the clean, echoing swish of a Caitlin Clark three-pointer. But it didn't stop there. One became two. Two became three. And suddenly, the game wasn't just about points. It was about momentum, trust, and a team finding its identity against one of the league's toughest opponents. What happened over the next 4 quarters was more than a box score. It was a statement from Clark, from the bench, and even from fans who had flown 22 hours just to be in the building. Chapter 1. The first flame when Clark's first triple dropped, you could feel the electricity shift in the arena. She smiled afterward, but at the time, it was all instinct. Yeah, it felt good, she said. And then I took one in transition. That's kind of where I like to get to early, and it's always good to see the ball go through the hoop. The second came before the crowd had settled from the first. The third. Well, the third was the one that sent the bench to its feet and the fans into a roar. That gives you a lot of confidence, she admitted. Even in the second half, I felt like they all came off my hand feeling really good. Confidence wasn't the only thing growing. So was the sense that tonight was going to be different. Chapter 2. Shaking off the rust that wasn't there the day before. Clark had mentioned shaking off a little rust. But once the ball tipped, it was clear. This wasn't rust. This was readiness. I mean, not really, she said when asked if she felt rusty. You're just a little anxious to get out there and get playing again. I felt really good. That didn't mean the night was without fatigue. There were a few periods where I felt like a little tired. I asked for a sub there in the second quarter, and Steph got me a quick one. It was a veteran move. Managing energy early so you can finish strong is the kind of habit that turns good players into great ones. Chapter 3. The Liberty Punch, and the response. The third quarter opened with a gut punch. New York went on a run. In the past, this was where things had unraveled. Clark didn't shy away from that history. We would crumble. That's exactly where we crumbled in Atlanta in our last game. It was tight at halftime. We come out in the third quarter, and we kind of fall apart. But not tonight. Today we really stuck together. We went on our own run. Somebody said we went on like a 25-3 run or something like that. And just proud of everybody. The pride wasn't reserved for starters. Sid hit 2 massive threes in the second half. Sophie Cunningham was a force, posting a staggering plus 31 in the box score. People just made really big plays down the stretch, Clark said. That wasn't luck. That was trust, built possession by possession. Chapter 4. The game plan shift when asked how many threes she'd hit in a row in her career, Clark laughed. Dang, I don't know, maybe like 6 or something. My most in a game is 12. That was in high school. But this wasn't just heat check basketball. It was game plan. That's kind of what they gave up tonight. They were going to let us shoot threes, because when we came off the ball screen, they weren't giving up the pocket as much. Translation: the Liberty didn't want Aaliyah Boston feasting inside. The adjustment? Hit from deep until they paid for it. And the Fever did. 17 made threes, many off skip passes to the weak side. They didn't want AB to have it in the middle of the paint. We really took advantage of what they were giving us. That's not just shooting. That's high-level problem-solving. Chapter 5. The Hong Kong surprise in the middle of the post-game media. A voice from the back introduced himself. Hello, Miss K. This is Gordon from Hong Kong. Congrats on your great performance. Clark lit up. Oh, I appreciate that. Hopefully I'll get there one day. Then came the reveal. 5 fans had flown 22 hours from Hong Kong just to see her play. No way, that's incredible. It was more than a sweet moment. It was a reminder of the global pull of her game. It's incredible to see the type of reach that we can have, and how much people love basketball across the globe. Some players measure impact in points, others in miles traveled by fans. Tonight, Clark could measure both. Chapter 6. Coach White's perspective. Stephanie, White didn't need a box score to know this was a breakthrough game. I think it's big for us. Not just the win, but handling the runs. She'd watched her team solve problems in real time, without burning precious timeouts. Oftentimes that's what it is, problem solving in real time. White knew the shooting kept them in it, but the defense sealed it. Our defensive energy and execution, outside of a few stretches, was really good tonight. That's the balance championship teams need. The firepower to survive and the defense to finish. Chapter 7. The Kelsey free throw moment. With 7 minutes left in the third quarter, Kelsey Mitchell stepped to the line. But before she shot, she called Clark over. It wasn't for a play call. It wasn't for a stat reminder. It was for a quick, grounding check-in. The two talked briefly, heads close, eyes locked. The kind of exchange that doesn't make the highlight reel, but changes the flow of a game. Whatever was said worked. The Fever didn't just hold the line. They surged, riding that 25-3 run into a lead they never surrendered. Final chapter. Why it mattered. The box score will remember 17 threes. Fans will remember the early barrage and the Hong Kong shout-out. The team will remember the third-quarter stand, the one that used to break them, but didn't. This wasn't just